Welcome to the very first episode of something I like to call polls. It's a very simple concept of the series. All I'm going to do is, over the past month or so, I've been asking a bunch of questions over on YouTube, and if you want a chance to perhaps maybe partake in some of these questions, and perhaps maybe, maybe subscribe, notification bell, whatever. And anyway, you could even let me know what you think of this episode by giving the video either a thumbs up or a thumbs down or whatever. Anyway, intro done. So, on with the questions. What is the loudest thing on a motorbike? 7% people think it's the horn. The next group up was the pillion, or a first time pillion. Then it was the exhaust. But most of people decided that it was going to be you after a near miss. If someone has cut you up, you might shout some or say some expletive towards them, the car driver, or just yourself. I say, Oddbean, you got a tad close there, didn't you? Now on to something a bit more technical. Cameras. What sort of camera do you use? Action cameras for your helmet and whatnot. Of course, more than 50% GoPro. Boom. GoPro is number one. Main camera is the one that everyone seems to be using. And what's next? Next on the list was the Drift, taking 18% of the market share. Not great, Drift. You've fallen a bit, haven't you? Used to be the other way around, I'm sure. 15% of the people use a GoPro copy, which is, you know what, they're a lot better than they used to be. Them Yees and all that, Yee 4K and all that, they're a lot better than they used to be. And there is 8%, which is other, which could be your DJ Osmo, which is a really nice camera, or the top class camera, which I still think is one of the best, is the Sony action camera with optical stabilization. No one seems to use an Insta360 as their main camera. Very nice as a secondary, incredibly nice as a secondary, but no one uses it as their main. On to which motorbike of mine do you want to see the most of? Well, 11% of you said the PC50. Well, sorry for that. I really don't like you riding that bike. It's horrible. 11% want to see my BMW. Well, good news. There'll be lots of BMW videos this year, probably, hopefully, because I plan to use that as my daily driver for 2021. 16% of you want to see the Cubs. Well, good news for that, because I will be getting at least one Cub on the road. Minimum one Cub will be on the road this summer for a bit. And the rest of you, which is over 50%, want to see the CRF. Well, good news, you will probably see some CRF videos, but they'll probably be maintenance videos, as the CRF needs a bit of work done, so you might see it on the road towards the end of the year, October time maybe, by the time I finished all the work and got the money to put it all back together and get it through. Unfortunately, lots of things have gone wrong with it recently. Do you name your motorbike? Now, this is something that I used to do. I had a CBR 600RR, and I called that Epona. Yes, I know, Zelda. I had a GPZ, which I referred to as Red Gazelle, which is a race car driver's car in an old game called F-Zero X. Anyway, enough of that. On with, well, the results. By the way, I don't name my bikes anymore. I used to. I was in that class that I used to. It looks like most people...
Just a quick interjection, this poll is now flipped. It's now more people do not name their bikes.
To refer to their bike as a female. There is a small percentage that ride their bike and they refer to it as male. Maybe it is female riders naming their bike a male name, or it's just some tall weirdo naming their bike Derek. Well, look, I used to name my bike, but I think maybe it's because you get too attached to them, and after a couple of bikes have been stolen, and burned and stuff, I just don't want to name them anymore. Worst thing to wear while riding a motorbike. Crocs, very comfortable but highly impractical for motorbike riding. Then you've got a nice pair of high heels. You know, for some of the short riders like myself, that could actually be a valid option. Or a G-string, oh dear. Or a polite vest. And everyone wholeheartedly agreed that polite vests are the worst thing to be wearing while riding a motorbike. Now onto something that's very good on this channel, which I do like to do, and hopefully we'll be doing lots of this year. Camping. What do you use to sleep in? Bivy bag, a tent, hammock, or do you just say nope, bed and breakfast please, or a hotel? And it looks like that most of you use tents, whereas people who use hammocks and bivy bags, you're on about equal footing, but much bigger percentage, almost 40% of you, use hotels or B&Bs, and I thought you would all be happy campers. Obviously not, you just like to watch me. Maybe my camping videos are putting people off camping with some of the misery videos I've done. Maybe that's why I've turned you all off on camping and you just want to go into a hotel B&B. Whoops, sorry. Fastest you've ever been on the road on your motorbike. I didn't actually say on your motorbike, but presuming you'd be using your motorbike. Do you keep it legal between 0 and 70, 71 to 90, 91 to 120? These are the brackets I put up. Well, the fastest I've ever been on a motorbike on the road is around 130 miles an hour in Germany. And I thought I was the business going that fast. However, a BMW car of some description overtook me like I was at a standstill. Anyway, on to the results. It looks like most people have been around the 120 to 140 miles an hour mark, which is a bit higher than I had actually expected. If you're doing that sort of speed in the UK, our roads really aren't equipped for it. Some crazy people have been going faster than that. Over 140 miles an hour? I don't understand. 11% claim to have never been over 70 miles an hour, but if I can manage to get a standard Honda Cub over 70 miles an hour, then I'm sure you, someone out there who ticked that, you must have hit 71 at some point, or 72 with downhill with the wind in the right direction. So 11% of you are liars. Last question of the month, or this video, or whatever, or ever. What sat-nav do you use on your bike? And I was expecting it to be a bit high, but I didn't expect it to be this high. Over 50% use mobile phones. Over 50% use a phone with an app, a smartphone, Kalimoto, Google Maps, Waze, Maps.me, whatever GPS software you use. It seems to be phones is the clear winner. Then Garmin in second place, still taking up a decent chunk with around 30% uptake for that. And then TomTom with a tiny sliver of 8%. TomTom, you're wasting away, TomTom. You really are. And no one paper maps. Although these polls have been taken, and maybe by now someone has actually voted on paper maps, but yeah, no one seems to be using paper maps. Anyway, that's the end of this video or episode of whatever. I haven't even called this. It's going to be polls, working title. If you liked it, please let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, whatever, and bye.